Most people don't lose their strength because of age. They lose it because of silence, a slow, quiet process that switches off the very genes responsible for keeping your muscles alive. It begins after 60, when the brain sends fewer repair signals to the fibers that keep you standing tall. And little by little, everyday moments, climbing stairs, rising from a chair, walking across the yard, start to feel heavier than they used to. I've seen this countless times in my clinic. Strong men who once built homes can't lift their grandchildren. Women who walked miles now fear the grocery aisle. They call it just getting old. But it isn't. It's sarcopenia, the medical term for muscle wasting. And it's far more reversible than most people realize. I'm Dr. Samuel Hartley. I've spent 25 years studying how aging bodies rebuild themselves, even in their 70s and 80s, through a principle called mechanical signaling. When you move the right way, your muscles don't just get stronger, they reawaken the biological code that keeps your body stable, alert, and independent. And you don't need a gym, a trainer, or expensive equipment. You only need your own body, a wall, and a few minutes of deliberate movement. What I'm about to share are 5 daily longevity moves that research suggests may help reactivate those dormant muscle pathways, improving balance, circulation, and posture, while protecting you from the most common cause of lost independence, falls. One of these movements is so powerful, doctors in Japan now use it to predict fall risk years in advance. And yet, almost no one practices it at home. We'll start there with the simple balance ritual that may quietly keep you on your feet for decades. When we talk about balance, most people think of coordination, of muscles and reflexes working together. But deep inside your body, balance is really a conversation between your inner ear, your cerebellum, and your glutes. These systems form what researchers call the proprioceptive loop, the built-in GPS that tells your brain where you are in space. After 60, that loop begins to weaken. Tiny receptors in your feet and ankles, called mechanoreceptors, send slower signals. The cerebellum, the small brain at the back of your skull that fine-tunes movement, becomes less responsive. The result? You start to lose microstability long before you actually fall. A 2020 study in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy found that just 90 seconds a day of single-leg balance work reduced fall risk by 35% in adults over 65. Why? Because these small, controlled challenges retrain the communication line between muscle and mind. So, here's how you begin. Stand near your kitchen sink or a sturdy rail. Shift your full weight onto one leg, not halfway, but completely. And feel the muscles around your hip and foot switch on like stabilizing cables. Start with 10 seconds, then 15. Build to 30 seconds on each side. If that feels easy, close your eyes for 3 seconds. Just 3. And you'll feel how alive those muscles suddenly become. That's proprioception waking up. That's your nervous system remembering how to protect you. In my clinic, I've watched men in their 70s go from trembling on one foot to walking stairs without gripping the rail. And every single time, their blood pressure improved, their gait steadied, and their confidence returned. But balance isn't only about muscles. It's also about circulation, the life flow that keeps your legs awake and strong. And the next movement? It's what I call the circulation engine, the simple calf ritual that may prevent swelling, fatigue, and stumbling before it begins. If the first movement reawakens your body's internal GPS, this next one restores the fuel lines that power it. I call it the circulation engine, because every step you take depends on one small but mighty pump that most people forget exists, the calf muscle. Your calves are more than decoration. They're a second heart. Each time they contract, they push blood upward against gravity, carrying oxygen back to your brain and nutrients to your joints. But after 60, This pump weakens, partly from sitting longer, partly because the veins and valves stiffen. Blood begins to pool in the lower legs, creating that heavy, swollen feeling many people call just poor circulation. It's not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. When circulation slows, your muscles starve for oxygen, and your nerves fire less efficiently. That's why people with weak calves often shuffle rather than step. The signal delay between foot and brain becomes longer, like a phone call with static. Now, here's the hopeful part. It's fixable and fast. A study from the European Journal of Applied Physiology in 2021 found that performing slow heel and toe lifts, even while holding on to a rail, increased lower limb blood flow by 42% within 4 weeks while improving walking. Speed and balance scores. You don't need a gym. Stand tall in front of a counter or wall. Lift both heels as high as you can. Pause for a heartbeat, then slowly lower down over 4 seconds. That's where the magic happens. Now, roll forward and lift your toes, keeping your body straight as you do. This dual motion, heel up, toe up, sends a rhythmic wave through your veins, clearing sluggish blood, reducing swelling, and training your ankles to lift properly when you walk. Because when those muscles stop firing, it's easy to drag the toes, catch the carpet, and stumble. One of my patients, George, 71, used to describe his legs as cement pillars. Within 2 weeks of doing this every other day, that weight began to lift. By the 6th week, he walked the neighborhood loop without his cane. Not because he got stronger overnight, but because his blood started flowing again. Think of this as recharging the electrical grid that powers your lower body. Each contraction releases nitric oxide, a natural gas molecule that tells your arteries to open. More flow means more oxygen. More oxygen means more energy. Do this movement until you feel a gentle burn, a sign that your second heart is pumping. Rest a day between sessions. If you're comfortable, try doing a few reps on one leg at a time. That challenge doubles the demand on your nervous system and dramatically strengthens your coordination. Now, you might already notice a pattern forming. First, we restored balance. Now, we've reignited flow. But there's another thief of stability, one most people never suspect: the slow collapse of posture. Stooping doesn't just make you look older. It compresses your lungs, shortens your stride, and brings your center of gravity forward, all of which increase fall risk. And that's where our next movement comes in, the spine reclaim, the posture-restoring exercise that may help your body breathe, align, and stand proud again. If you've ever caught your reflection and noticed your shoulders rounding forward, you're not alone. That slow forward tilt isn't just posture. It's a biological signal that your spinal stabilizers are losing their rhythm. When that happens, the entire balance chain above and below begins to crumble. Stooping, as simple as it looks, is one of the most predictive signs of frailty in older adults. It shifts your center of gravity forward by just 2 inches. But that small change multiplies the strain on your neck and shoulders by over 40%. More than appearance, it silently limits oxygen to your lungs and compresses the very nerves that tell your body where upright truly is. A 2021 study in clinical interventions in aging found that gentle postural training, just 10 minutes a day, improved lung capacity and balance by 28% among participants aged 65 to 80. What's remarkable is that even those who had stooped for decades saw measurable improvements in gait and confidence. So, how do we reclaim that natural posture? Start seated, hands resting on your knees. Now, tilt your torso slightly forward, just enough to feel your weight shift. As you do, imagine a string pulling the center of your chest upward and outward. That's your thoracic extension, the heart of upright vitality. From here, gently tuck your chin toward your throat, not down, just in, and slide your head straight back, as though you're aligning it with your spine. Hold for 2 or 3 seconds, then relax. Repeat this movement 10 to 15 times. Each repetition strengthens the deep spinal muscles that keep your body tall and your breathing open. In my clinic, I remember Eleanor, 74, gentle, soft-spoken, always apologizing for her terrible posture. Within 6 weeks of this daily exercise, her voice literally sounded different, fuller, more confident. That's what happens when you lift your frame. Your body finds its air again. This small ritual does more than straighten your spine. It changes your identity. You start to feel present again, grounded. Your eyes lift instead of drop. Your chest opens. Your breath lengthens. Every inhalation reminds your nervous system, you are safe, you are upright, you belong here. And yet, posture alone isn't enough, because while your upper body supports your breath and vision, it's your legs and hips that determine how easily you rise, move, and stay independent. And that brings us to one of the most vital movements in all of healthy aging, the one that reawakens your type 2 muscle fibers, the fast twitch fibers that make standing up, climbing stairs, and catching yourself possible. After 60, those fibers shrink rapidly unless you teach them to fire again. That's why the next ritual, the sit-to-stand protocol, is so powerful. It's simple, it's safe, and it directly combats the muscle loss we call sarcopenia. What happens in this exercise goes far beyond the legs. When done correctly, it stimulates the same mTOR pathway that researchers at Aging Cell 2019 linked to muscle regeneration, the very biological switch that turns on strength repair. In a moment, I'll walk you through how to use this movement, not just to rebuild your legs, but to send a signal throughout your body that says, I am still strong and I am still here. Of all the movements I teach, this one has the power to change a life faster than any pill, powder, or supplement, because it teaches your body to rise again, literally. It's called the sit-to-stand protocol, and it's more than an exercise. It's the message your muscles have been waiting for. Every time you push yourself up from a chair, you're speaking to a set of muscle fibers that quietly begin to fade after 60. Your type 2 fast twitch fibers. These are the ones that catch you when you trip, help you step up a curb or rise from the ground without assistance. Lose them, and you don't just lose power. You lose independence. But when you re-engage them, something beautiful happens. Your body remembers. A 2019 study in Aging Cell revealed that resistance-style movements like slow sit-to-stands reactivate the mTOR pathway, the same cellular mechanism responsible for muscle repair and growth. In older adults, even minimal activation of this pathway led to measurable gains in strength, balance, and walking speed within weeks. Here's how to do it. Sit on the edge of a firm chair with your feet flat, about shoulder width apart. Tilt your torso slightly forward. This shifts power into your hips. Now, press through your heels and rise to a full stand, squeezing your glutes as you do. That full extension tells your body, we're still building. Then lower yourself back down slowly. Count to 4 on the way. Those 4 seconds are critical. It's during that controlled descent that your muscles fire the hardest and your brain relearns precision. Repeat until you feel a mild fatigue, not exhaustion, just warmth. If it feels too hard, place your hands on your knees to help. If it feels too easy, hover just above the seat before rising again. Do this every second day, and you'll begin to notice something subtle yet profound. The chair that once felt like safety begins to feel like resistance, and you like momentum. I've seen it countless times. People in their 70s who once needed their hands to push off a chair now stand effortlessly, their legs steady, their posture upright, their faces glowing with something far deeper than strength, confidence. Because this movement doesn't just rebuild muscle, it rebuilds belief. In Japan, where longevity research thrives, they have a saying, "He who stands up easily grows old slowly." It's true. Every time you perform this movement, you're telling your body to defy the pattern of decline. And yet, as we rebuild muscle and posture, we can't forget the upper body, the shoulders, chest, and arms that frame your daily actions. They too need a message, a reminder that they're still part of your story. That's where the final ritual, the Wall Rejuvenator, comes in. It's not just about strength, it's about balance between tension and release, between holding on and letting go. It may sound simple, but this gentle push from your own two hands has been shown to improve shoulder mobility, stabilize the spine, and activate deep core muscles that protect your lower back. In a moment, we'll finish with it. A single movement that ties everything together, closing the loop between strength, flow, and grace. When most people think of exercise, they picture intensity, sweat, strain, effort. But in the second half of life, longevity is not built through force. It's built through rhythm, through reconnecting the breath, the spine, and the strength that still lives in your body. That's what the Wall Rejuvenator is designed to do. It looks simple, but it integrates everything we've worked on: balance, circulation, posture, and strength into one movement that restores your upper body and reawakens your sense of stability. Here's how you do it. Stand an arm's length away from a wall on a firm surface that won't slip. Place your palms flat against the wall at shoulder height, just wider than your shoulders, with your fingers slightly turned in. Now, take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, lower your body toward the wall, 4 seconds down, as if you were bowing gently toward your own reflection. Keep your chin slightly tucked, your shoulders down, and your stomach firm, so your spine stays in one graceful line from head to heel. Hold for a moment, then press yourself back to the start, feeling your chest open and your shoulder blades draw together like wings. Repeat this until you feel a soft fatigue, that gentle warmth spreading through your arms and chest. If it's too easy, step a little farther from the wall. Too hard, move closer. What's happening inside your body during this ritual is remarkable. Every press activates your scapular stabilizers, the small muscles that control shoulder motion, while your core quietly learns to hold the body's center steady. Your lungs expand more deeply, your spine elongates, your circulation improves, and your nervous system relaxes. In one study from Frontiers in Physiology, 2022, researchers found that light wall-based resistance exercises increased upper body muscle tone and improved posture metrics in adults over 70. Participants also reported lower back pain reduction and better sleep quality, signs that the body's natural alignment was returning. But beyond the biology, something else begins to shift, something you can't measure in studies. As you move closer and push away, your body remembers its balance between giving and receiving, between control and trust. And that perhaps is the secret ingredient of graceful aging. Every time you complete this sequence, the balance reset, the circulation engine, the spine reclaim, the sit-to-stand protocol, and the Wall Rejuvenator, you're not just exercising. You're telling your cells that life still flows through you. You're sending quiet orders to your mitochondria, the tiny engines of energy, to keep burning brightly. And with every breath, every rise, every gentle push, your brain rewires a truth that far too many forget. You are still adaptable, still strong, still needed. I've seen these 5 rituals transform lives, not because they're complicated, but because they give the body what it craves most: movement with meaning. They teach stability, yes, but they also restore dignity, the ability to move through space with confidence, grace, and the quiet certainty that you belong here. So maybe tomorrow morning, before you pour your coffee, place your hands on that wall. Take one slow breath, lower yourself gently, and rise again. Not for exercise, but for renewal. And if this message resonates with you, if you felt even a spark of possibility, I'd love for you to share your story below, because every person who moves today inspires another to keep moving tomorrow. Remember, the information in this video is for educational purposes only. Always consult your healthcare provider before starting any new exercise program. But most of all, remember this: your body still listens. Your strength still matters. And somewhere inside, it's still waiting for you to rise again.